Most of the tests we have discussed so far have a relatively short time horizon, from under a minute to just a few hours. However, we don't know how the application will perform if placed under load for an extended period of time. For example, just because a bridge can hold a load for an hour, it does not mean it will be able to hold it for a day or longer. Cracks can form, but only after an extended period of time. To test this scenario as well, we need to run a soak test, also known as an endurance test. Essentially, a soak test is a variation of a load test. To put it in simpler terms, we take a load test and simply stretch its duration. So let's take a look at how we can configure something like this in case 6. So because I mentioned a load test, let's go ahead to the load test and simply duplicate it. I'm going to rename it in soak test. Now this was a shorter soak test. So for example, we will have here the ramp up stage. So in this case, let's say we're going to have this for 5 minutes. I'm going to say 1000 users. And the ramp down, it's also going to be 5 minutes. And we're going to get to 0. So if our target is 1000 users, then what we need to do here, instead of having a duration of, let's say, 30 minutes, well, what we should do is to take a look at the higher duration. So for example, we can run this for 8 hours, for 12 hours, or for 24 hours, or even longer if it makes sense. So essentially, we're only stretching this stage. So we are not touching the ramp up and the ramp down. This can stay the same. Essentially, what we are testing is how the application will perform during this part of the test with a constant load for a long period of time. Now, the question is, what kind of issues can a soak test detect that a load test couldn't? Well, the thing is, some problems tend to occur after a long period of time. One example for that would be memory leaks. So, memory leak can occur when a program keeps holding onto the memory it doesn't need anymore, and it's simply slowing down the system over time. At one point, the system can run out of memory and crash. Another problem that can occur is related to the disk space available. For example, to the disk space, there are various logs that are being written. Or for example, if we create more database entries, that database will grow over time and require more space. Or there can be caches or any other data that the application creates. So at one point in time, the application could theoretically run out of space. It can also be the case that some services crash for an undetermined reason after a time and simply go offline. So there can be various things that can occur, and they tend to occur only after more times. For example, maybe the application works without any issues for 30 minutes, maybe for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. Maybe after 4 hours, something starts to happen because we have created more data, we have used more memory, and if some mechanisms are not working as designed, then this will be visible in the sense that the application will no longer work as expected. So in conclusion, a soak test can help us identify issues that occur only after an extended period. Such a test should only be executed after the successful completion of a load test. In other words, it does not make sense to let a soak test run for 24 hours if the application can't even handle the load for the first 30 minutes.